For the youth.
Castle-Gene issue is what we do. Live from the Metro, it's the Euclid's crew. For your problems and dilemmas, you can call it. You can send us with 2 clicks. Youth clicks. You click, you click, you click, you click, you click, you click.
What's up, everybody? This is Andrea, and welcome to another hot episode of Youth Clicks. Today on our couches, we have Lauren, Aaron, and Donnie. Now, we'd like to take this opportunity to recognize our new members, of course. Now, our new members are Aaron, Tanisha, Jamichael, Terrell, Shayla, and Ronald. Now, on behalf of Youth Clicks, we'd like to welcome you all to the show. Now, as we all know, the teen years are filled with ups and downs. This is a time we're going to be socializing, going out, partying, and etc. Unfortunately, sometimes the dates that we go on do not always end up, being happily ever after. And these are the dates that we're going to focus on today. Yes, if you guys haven't already guessed it, today's show is all about date rape. So we want you all to take a quick moment, marinate on today's topic, and stay tuned because we'll be right back.
Have you heard these myths before? Girls say no when they really mean yes. I deserve it because I spent all that money on her. She wanted it, she just didn't want to admit it. These are all myths. You can't believe them, but you can believe this. No means no. When she says no, she means no.
Now, Donnie, you've been very vocal about expressing the fact that some date rape cases could indeed be blown out of proportion. So do you still feel this way?
Yeah, I still do feel that way. I mean, a lot of times we talk about the percentages and numbers on date rapes, and a lot of people are quick to say that, it's probably more. It's a whole lot of girls getting raped, but I'm just saying that a lot of those same cases aren't always true. Some of them may be brought about from other reasons. I don't know, girls want to get revenge on some guy that, did them wrong or something like that, but I don't always think that all of the reported date rape cases are actually true.
Well, in my opinion, whatever the truth may be, rape is rape and no is no. So if you can't understand that, then something's wrong, because no matter how many of the cases aren't reported or go reported or not, then it's still rape.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I feel that no matter what point you're at, it's rape. If you say no, then and if it continues, that's rape. And no is no. And I think that especially guys need to be more aware of that.
Well, it's always interesting to see what you guys have to say, because it's obvious that we coincide. Well, we don't coincide on our thoughts here. I mean, we have somebody saying that some of these cases could be, in fact, blown out of proportion. And then it's like the three of us, because I feel the same way as you two. We feel as if rape is rape. Mm-hmm. So, now our second question is, now a lot of people seem to think that if you have agreed to have sex before with someone, then if you say no, then it's not considered rape. Now, Lauren, what do you think about this?
I think agreeing to have sex is one thing. I think that if you're having that many second thoughts at the last minute, then you kind of have to wonder about that person. Was she assured that first time? But then again, as I said before, rape is rape. So, I mean, no matter what point you're at, you know what I'm saying? Right. I mean, y'all could be up in his room or her room or whatever. No matter what she says, if at that point she changes her mind and she does not want to go through with it, then you should adhere to that.
Right, I agree strongly with what you just said. Aaron, how do you feel about this?
Again, I feel the same way. I feel that if you agree to have sex with the guy that you're, seeing or dating, and then you say no the second time that you want to have sex, then that's rape, whether you've had sex with him before or not. Some guys have a hard time understanding that, and I do too. But still, when you say no, it's no, and that's rape if it continues.
Right.
I just don't think that, if a girl agreed to have sex with a guy the first time, especially if it's in a case like a relationship, then there's a reason that she agreed to it. So the second time or whatever, third, fourth, 16th time that they were in that situation, and she says no, I don't consider it rape. It just might be something they might need to work out in their relationship, or another reason, another factor that she didn't want to have engaged in sexual activity with him again. I don't think it's rape. It's just something, between two people that they have to decide, because once before it was okay, it was kosher. So, I have a kind of a little problem with that.
Well, I can identify with where both sides are coming from, but once again, my thoughts coincide more with Aaron and Lauren. But we have to ask ourselves, you all, how common is rape? Now, the studies show that 75% of the women who are raped on dates are raped by an acquaintance. Now, this is a pretty large statistic to me. Now, I'm going to kick a question over to J. Michael. Do you think that rape is more prevalent in our age group, or how do you feel about this?
Well, I feel that rape doesn't matter the age, even though it does affect in our age, but rape doesn't matter your race, your color, your age, your denomination, where you're from, religion, it doesn't matter. Rape is rape. And when somebody says no, that means no. And that's the way I feel about the situation.
I want to thank you for your thoughts, because I know a lot of people can identify with what you just said. You all, we're having a really good conversation, but we have to take a quick break for an important message.
The judge pointed at me, said no means no.
We're going to take a break, but remember that rape is never your fault. When you go out, watch out for your friends and ask them to watch out for you too. No means no.
You can have 20 million people around you all the time. When you don't have love for yourself, you're lonely. Drugs used to make me feel no pain at all. It's a false thing. Once the feeling is gone, you're back to feeling like you're nobody. Love starts from inside you. I just accepted who I was, accepted my big feet, accepted my big lips. I accepted Mary. That feels the loneliness when you love you, when you really love you. It's a way of healing, you know?
Just hanging on the court playing b-ball when these drugged up bugs came out from behind the wall. They said,
You're no good. We're the best in this neighborhood.
with no delay, the game got underway. The drugged up bugs were too high to play. They couldn't even hold the ball. Couldn't pass, couldn't shoot, couldn't score at all. Couldn't find the paint. In school they thought they was cool, but now they ain't. That's the buzzer. Time to quit. Home B's 100. Drug bug zip. The lesson here is so plain to see. Drug free is the way to be.
Welcome back to Youth Clicks. Today's topic is a very serious one. It's date rape. Now, did you all know that 56% of the women raped were raped by their date? 11% were raped by a boyfriend, and 30% were raped by a friend or an acquaintance. Now, these statistics are not good, and some people still believe the girls actually asked to become raped. I mean, like they put themselves in that situation. Now, Layla, you tended to agree a little bit with Donna earlier this week in our meeting. Do you still feel the same way you did on last week?
As far as asking for it, I don't think that any female puts on an outfit with a short skirt, and goes out with intent of being raped. However, I do think that sometimes the situation can be prevented. If you don't want something to happen, then don't go into a room with a guy or a girl by yourself thinking that nothing's going to happen. My mom, she always told me that if I didn't want something to occur, then don't put myself in the situation.
I mean, I'm feeling where you're coming from there because my mother told me the same thing. Now, Tatiana, I do remember you agreeing with Layla and Donnie's side of the story. So what is your opinion on this?
Well, I do believe that some precautions can be taken, to avoid an unpleasant situation, to avoid rape. However, I don't think that, saying she was asking for it can work in any case, because every rapist can say she was asking for it, even if the woman was wearing, all, very conservative kind of dress or clothing or whatever. You can always say she was asking for it. You can always see some kind of smile that you can say it was provocative. So I think that's not a good excuse.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, too. I mean, any rapist can say, if I glanced at him or blinked my eye one time, that he could think I'm, flirting with him or something like that. I mean, it never ends up like that. But on Ronald, what is your opinion on what's been said thus far and what Tatiana and Layla have said?
Well, I also think that date rape can be brought on by provocative clothing, and the girl can lead the guy on. If she doesn't want anything to lead to sex, she shouldn't talk about it in the date or give the guy any ideas. And I think if she leads the guy on to think about sex, at the end of the day, he'll be expecting that. And if he doesn't get it, he'll be forced probably or most likely to take it forcefully.
Well, I mean, I think, in my opinion, I think a guy should be able to restrain his sexual manners to know that, I mean, if a girl says no, is it worth 8 to 10 in the state penitentiary for you to get what you want just for that one night? So, I mean, Jessica, what do you think? Do sometimes girls ask for it?
I don't think anybody has intent to be raped, but I think that girls and guys both have to be cautious because boys and girls do not think the same. What a guy may be thinking, a girl might not be thinking, and it might be kind of like, people might get confused or, so they just have to be cautious of how they act towards each other.
Well, I agree with you, Terrence. Do you agree with Jessica?
I agree with Jessica. I mean, but in some cases, some girls take it too far. I mean, they're on the couch kissing or whatever and then just stop and expect nothing else to happen. But they don't provoke it. I mean, it's not right to say that they got raped because of that, but I think they just take it too far in some cases, and that's why it happens.
Well, I mean, I think everybody's expectations in one date might be different from another. But Tony, what's your opinion on men being raped? Do you think that it's possible? Do you think those are kind of cases that are very, 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 kind of mild as far as them being reported?
Surprisingly, guys are raped, but in my research, I found that they are raped by other guys, and I think it doesn't go reported because, I mean, just like females, they're shocked about it. They don't have anyone to go to and to talk to about it, and then they can't believe that they've just been violated like that by another guy. So I mean, men do get raped, but I mean it doesn't go reported because they're scared or they're shocked or things like that.
Yeah, well, Tony, I think your opinions are very valid when it comes to why most men don't report rapes, but I think it almost might be a macho thing too. A lot of guys have this ego that they want to keep straight, and if a guy comes up to another guy and be like, yeah, dog, I was raped, I mean, they're gonna look at them like, huh, you were what? So I definitely agree with your point, but I think it might also be a male macho thing too. As you can see, we've had a lot of good comments so far, and now we're going to pitch it to the news with Shayla and Layla.
Coming out.
Layla, recent statistics show that rape is still all too prevalent in America. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, somewhere in America, a woman is raped every 2 minutes. In 1996, 307,000 women were the victim of rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault.
Did you know that 1 of every 4 rapes takes place in a public area or a public garage? 68% of the rapes occur between the hours of 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and at least 45% of the rapists were under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Teens 16 to 19 were 3.5 times more likely than the general population to be victims of rape, sexual assault, or attempted rape.
The date rape drug is becoming even more popular. This drug, Rohypnol, better known as Rufus, Roach, or Rope, causes sedation which occurs 20 to 30 minutes after consumed and lasts for several hours. It causes amnesia, drowsiness, and sleepiness. According to the U.S. News, many rape victims have been urging Congress to halt the rapid rise of the smuggling of this drug into the United States. This drug, which has a very similar appearance to aspirin, plays a key role in the ease of a rapist to commit his crime.
However, there are signs that as a nation, we are making progress in curbing the wave of sexual violence. More and more survivors are coming out and speaking publicly to help lessen the stigma long associated with rape victims. Advocates, prosecutors, and survivors are working together in states across the country to change laws.
Welcome back to Youth Clicks, where we've been talking about date rape. And we want to make sure we get the point across to teens about date rape so they can be aware and protect themselves. Now today we have our guest, Ms. Gabrielle Bargerstock, and she's from the Rape Crisis Network, and we want to make sure we give her a warm Youth Clicks welcome. Now, Ms. Bargerstock, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I'm the Director of Education for Sexual Trauma Services. We used to be Rape Crisis Network. We changed our name. It'll be a year in April. And what I do is provide community education presentations to schools, organizations, basically anyone who wants information on topics that are related to sexual assault. My agency is a small nonprofit United Way agency, and our mission is to provide education, outreach, and clinical services to the Midlands area on topics surrounding sexual abuse and assault.
Okay, now we've been trying to touch on date rape in general, some about teens, about women in general, but could you tell us exactly how prominent it is amongst teens?
Teens are actually, between the ages of 13 and 17, the most at-risk group in the population. Approximately 32% of sexual assaults are committed against teens between the ages of 13 and 17.
Okay. So how does a person know when they've been raped? I mean, it might seem like a weird question, but a girl that might be confused about what just happened, is there anything right off the bat that would tell her that she's been raped?
Well, right off the bat, if she's questioning a situation, generally if you are not sure about having sex, you shouldn't have had the sex in the first place. So if there's any kind of a question in somebody's mind, that indicates some kind of a problem, whether it's a situation of coerced sex or something that can actually be considered a sexual assault. It's hard to say. But if you're ever in a situation where you find yourself having had somebody either forcibly touch you or do anything that you didn't give express consent, which is a yes, without any kind of other type of reservation, that would qualify as a sexual assault.
Okay, so what does a person do once they've been raped? I mean, should they talk to somebody first, make sure they don't, I don't know, take a shower, stuff like that, and then immediately go report it? What exactly should someone do?
Well, our first recommendation is to make sure that you're in a safe place. If you've been sexually assaulted and you're still in that situation or that location that the sexual assault occurred, the first and foremost thing is to get yourself to a place where you're safe, where nothing else can occur. After that, yes, there are certain precautions that you should take. Obviously, go to the hospital. You need to see a doctor, not just for the sexual assault, but also because of exposure to pregnancy and STDs. That's extremely important. And there's other steps that you should take. Try not to shower, which is very difficult to ask of someone who has just been sexually assaulted. Don't change your clothes. Don't wash your clothes. And even if someone can't get to a hospital immediately, you have up to 72 hours for a rape protocol exam to be performed. The evidence that can be collected is available for 72 hours. So even if you can't make it that night, the next day or sometime in the next.
Okay, now what about date rape drugs? Could you shed some light on kind of how prominent those are, how they actually work?
Okay, well, first and foremost, let me let you guys in on something that people don't usually think about. The most prominent date rape drug is alcohol. In almost 70% of sexual assaults, alcohol is also involved. People don't usually consider that a date rape drug, or they don't think of it as being a date rape drug, but in fact it is highly correlated to sexual assault. In addition to that, there's 3 big drugs that are considered the date rape drugs, and those are GHB, Rohypnol, which is also known as roofies, and ketamine. And basically those drugs, while they're used recreationally by some people, when combined with alcohol, which they usually are, can all have very damaging effects, including death. And they're basically used to incapacitate a victim. They either induce amnesia or paralysis or comatose state.
Okay. Another question I was kind of wondering about is, you said the most common age for rape is 13 to 17, and the most common date rape drug is alcohol. But most 13 to 17-year-olds have a problem, getting hold of alcohol. So is it within the age group that they're raped, or is it about older people that a person would be raped because they wouldn't be able to get a hold of alcohol or these date rape drugs?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Okay. What I'm asking is that you said that our target age is 13 to 17, and but 13 to 17-year-olds don't have like the resources to get alcohol and a lot of these date rape drugs. So are teenagers mainly raped by older people or by other teenagers?
In most, that's actually broken down between 12 and 17. Most situations of sexual assault between 12 and 17 are people within the same age range. The second most prominent age group is assailants who are between the ages of 18 and 24.
Okay. All right, right now we're going to take a quick break, but don't change that channel because there'll be more Youth Clicks to come.
Coming out.
We're going to take a short break, but remember this. Never force yourself on anyone, even if teasing you. Rape is a crime. no matter what has been done to me. Remember that.
Scatman's World. My scene's green, do you know what I mean? My scene's green, do you know what I mean? My scene's green, do you know what I mean? It's not here to die. Life's about living, laughing, loving. Drugs, baby, baby, they ain't about nothing. It's not here to die. Drugs, they ain't about nothing.
I was 11 years old. I used to see these kids puffing weed. Well, take a hit. Took my first hit and I was like this. The teacher would be like,
if you smoke marijuana, you will be more likely to do other drugs.
Whatever.
I say marijuana's a gateway drug, yo. It opened up the floodgates.
I was bored. I took a hit.
Nothing mattered after a while.
I was heartbroken. I took a hit. I was frustrated. I took a hit.
I started smoking crack, shooting dope.
I had guns in my mouth. Got stabbed.
That first hit, yo, started it all off. I feel fortunate, yo, that I'm alive. That's a real deal.
Hi, welcome back to Youth Clicks, and we're talking about a very serious topic, date rape. And our guest from the Sexual Trauma Services is Gabrielle Bargerstock. And we're going to take some questions from the den, because I know there are a lot of questions out there, because she's given us a lot of good information. So, Latasha, what's your question for Ms. Bargerstock?
Because you've had experience with different victims, I would like to know what is the first emotion or feeling that they come to you and express?
Well, it varies from one survivor to another survivor, and we at our agency like to refer to them as survivors. Referring to them as a victim places them in the same state as being of trauma. They are a survivor. They did whatever it took to get through an assault. Reactions can range from shock, disbelief. Some are angry. Some blame themselves. Some people will go immediately to guilt. It's really kind of a whole gamut of emotions, and oftentimes they can switch rapidly from one to another.
Okay. Aya, do you have a question for Ms. Bargerstock?
Why do you feel there's a percentage of rape crimes that do not get reported?
Well, there's a big stigma with reporting sexual assaults. Many people don't want to go to law enforcement. They're afraid of reactions from police and law enforcement. And in addition to that, family and friends and coworkers, people's social networks don't necessarily react in the most positive fashion oftentimes to sexual assaults. Survivors need support, and in fear of not getting that support, oftentimes they'll hide it and keep it inside and not tell anyone.
I want to bring it to the pillows and see what you guys think and what you guys feel about, the date rape and, maybe some concerns, as in, I know a concern of mine is like the Rohypnol, the date rape drug that's now coming up like more and more. Do you guys have any comments on that or anything about date rape?
Well, I think that it's kind of sad because, drugs, period, are big in our age group, and I think it's sad because it's like older people are bringing it in and we're just producing it and selling it to people about, our siblings, our cousins and our family. I think that, it takes us as a group to stop this what's going on.
And even beyond that, it's a sad day when we live in a society where we feel no matter where we go and what we do, we're not safe. But like I said, that is a reality. So I think no matter what the case may be it you were drunk or beyond your knowledge or whatever, you were drugged, don't feel embarrassed to the point where you can't go to anyone and acknowledge that this did happen to you, because, you may help someone else in the process.
I know most people have heard about the drugs GHB and Rohypnol, but can you tell us what it looks like so that we know when we see it that that's what it is?
Sure. Well, there's actually a decent chance that you'd never see it prior to being dosed with it. GHB actually comes in liquid form. Both drugs are illegal, but GHB can be produced in the home, and that's generally where it's made, is home chem labs. And that's part of the problem with GHB, because the dosage level of it is, varies so highly that 1 teaspoon could be an effective dose in one person, whereas a glass from another batch could be the right or an effective dose. Therefore, depending on how much you take, you could kill a person, without ever trying to, because of the variability in it. Rohypnol's a little bit easier to spot if you saw it prior to it being put into a drink. It's a pill that's manufactured by Hoffman La Roche. It's a small white round tablet. Sometimes they have a bar across them. And it's also placed into drinks. Once put into a drink, it's colorless, odorless, tasteless, and its effects start almost immediately. It can happen in just a couple of minutes. Just to give you a little bit of...
Well, I believe that a person shouldn't blame themselves if they are raped. That's the worst thing somebody could do, because once somebody takes away your self-respect, your pride, it's hard to recover from that. And I feel that once you are raped, you should accept it and deal with it and try to move forward with your life instead of letting it bog you down and hold you back and keep you from having normal relationships with another partner. Don't let it ruin your life.
At this time, we're going to get some final feedback from the people on the couch.
Well, I deeply agree with most everything said here, and I thank our guests again for coming. As Shayla said, I believe that you shouldn't blame yourself, but I think guys also need to realize that just because a girl might dress sexy or might look at you a certain way does not mean that she deserves to be violated. And that's what rape is. It's a violation of your privacy, and no one ever deserves for that to happen to them, and it shouldn't.
I'm really concerned about the Rohypnol, the drug. Like going to parties and, a guy can slip it in your drink. You're like, what do you want to drink? I'll make you a drink. And he slips it in there and you have no clue. So I'm going to watch out, for drinks. And, I think that's a big thing is people watch their drinks. Watch what they're doing if you're going to be partying. I feel it's a big thing. Just be precautious, that's one thing that I've really gotten out of this conversation. You really got to, be precautious.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vargas, for your time. Everything that you said was useful. We want everyone to keep in mind what she said because rape is very serious. At this time, we'd like to present you with a T-shirt on behalf of Youth Clicks. You all, that's all we have for today's show. But until next time, take care of yourself and all of those around you. This has been a Youth Clicks episode, the show that educates the mind, nurtures the heart, and strengthens the soul. So until next time, remember, same place, same time next week.
Scarcity issue is what we do. Live from the metro, it's the Youth Clicks crew. For your problems and dilemmas, you can call it. You can send us with 2 clicks. Youth Clicks. Youth Click, 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 Youth Click. Live from the metro, it's the Youth Clicks crew. Discuss the teen issue is what we do. Live from the metro, it's the Youth Clicks crew. For your problems and dilemmas, you can call it. You can send us with 2 clicks. Youth Clicks, Youth Click, 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 Youth Click. Scarcity issue is what we do. Live from the metro, it's the Youth Clicks crew. For your problems and dilemmas, you can call it. You can send us with 2 clicks. Youth Clicks, Youth Click, 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 Youth Click. Live from the metro, it's the Youth Clicks crew. Discuss the teen issue is what we do. Live from the metro, it's the Youth Clicks crew. For your problems and dilemmas, you can call it. You can send us with 2 clicks. Youth Clicks, Youth Click, 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 Youth Click. WPGA, 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 WPGA.
Available on any internet server via www.PalmettoGroupAndAssociates.com. All emails, please check out YouthClicks1 at AOL. Peace. You heard me?